everyone, happy Sunday and welcome back to my channel. My name is LK if you're new here. I'm excited to show you one of the most difficult rooms that I've worked on so far in this house, and I have been making over every room in this 1929 Spanish Revival home, and it's been a challenge. I'm a renter and I'm always trying to be thrifty and save some money, so I can't make big changes, and I really am also trying to lean into my own style while also honoring the style of the home. So let's jump into it and let me just show you what I'm talking about. So far, I've done a lot to get this space ready, like gathering some inspiration, creating a mood board, and then removing some of the bulky furniture that was in here that just did not fit. Then I smoothed out the uneven wood paneling and lightened the walls with a really nice warm white to really enhance the sunlight in here. And doing just that has made this small 60 square foot area feel so much brighter and airier. I also addressed some kitchen storage issues by transforming a secondhand cabinet into a coffee bar that now houses most of our appliances, which really freed up some kitchen space and now gives us the option to install a dishwasher in the future. That said, we still do have some extra kitchen appliances and kitchen items that we do need to store away, so eventually I'll be removing these really cute IKEA chairs to install a custom storage bench that I'm currently designing and attempting to build. I think it's really going to give the space a more intentional and built-in look. So it's time to jump into the finishing touches like window treatments, some extra storage options, a couple more DIY projects, and also incorporating some of the finds that I got on my last antiquing trip. So let's jump in and get started. Okay, so first I want to start with a really fun DIY that I've probably wanted to do since I moved in here. I've seen this on a few houses in LA and here in San Diego, and it's a style of stained glass that is really interesting, and I don't know what it's called, and I've searched for it everywhere, but it seems to be on older Art Nouveau or even Spanish homes, and it's just this really organic shaped kind of stained glass look. So right through this door here on this window, I have these really cool stained glass decals that I put on last year, and they're so easy to remove and take off and put back on, and I really love them a lot, but I kind of wanted to do something more custom. Ever since I saw these doors when we toured the home, I thought they were just begging to have some kind of stained glass moment, and I've had these photos saved forever on my Pinterest, so I thought this breakfast nook door was the perfect opportunity to do a little bit more of a custom stained glass look. And so in each one of these squares here, I thought I could add some more character to the door. So I've got these bottles on Amazon, and I've seen a lot of people use them before. It's a gallery glass in clear, and then I've got a bunch of different colors. And then I also have some leftover faux lead lines that I used on those windows. So let's get into it and let me show you how I'm thinking of doing this. So because I wanted this organic look, I decided the easiest way to go about this was to just take this faux lead line and kind of stretch it and move intuitively. I really did not have a plan at all. Also, these faux lead lines are pretty stretchy and they don't exactly just snap the minute you stretch them, so it was really easy to work with. And then when I wanted to stop the line, I just used a little X-Acto knife blade and cut it off. And I guess I just kind of wanted all of the windows to loosely be talking to each other but not be replicas of each other. There's not really a specific way to explain how I came up with this because it just felt very natural to do this, but I just had fun with it and played around with it. Overall, I knew I wanted the shapes to feel organic like they were in those reference photos of the homes that I came across in the past, and I wanted to vary the organic shapes with either ovals and squares and linear shapes. I also wanted to play around with the width of the different shapes, some being very large, some being very thin, and also just trying to emphasize negative space and not being too crowded in one area and trying to look at the entire door as one image. But overall, having a very organic linear look while it also gives a geometric look as well, and I think that's really going to come in when I start adding color. I just really leaned into whatever felt natural and also trying to kind of loosely copy the photos of those windows that I had come across in the past. I think making the lines not look exactly uniform was the key to kind of giving that organic look that was in those reference photos of the homes that I've taken photos of. Okay, so moving into color, I haven't used these before, but from what I can gather, this is basically a tinted like Elmer's glue. And so you just kind of have to move it around in the space and let it dry. They don't stain the window at all. I did a test patch and it was totally fine to peel off and didn't cause any issues, but I had a hard time trying to figure out the right way to apply enough color in one of these little shapes to saturate the area, but not add so much texture. And unfortunately, it's not going to be perfect. However, I think that kind of adds to this like old world charm that maybe a real stained glass door would have. And so I kind of leaned into it and liked it. And I found that the best way to do it was to just lightly squeezing the bottles so that just a little bit of paint comes out at one time and then kind of letting it drip down. And then I used a little plastic fork as well as part of the tip of the squeeze bottle to kind of like move it around. I saw Marco Zamora on TikTok did this, and this seemed to be a really easy way to move the liquid around. It has a really nice viscous quality to it, so it was kind of easy for it to fill in on its own after you gave it a minute. And I think for my first go, this was really not too bad. I absolutely love this. I think this is a really cool vibe and I thought it was so much fun to do. It took a couple hours, so I'm gonna let it cure. It takes about like 2 days. I'm really happy about this. I think it's super, super cool. So I'll catch up with you when this is all done. Okay, so in part one, I went to IKEA and I saw these really interesting shelves in the kitchen area, and I thought that these would be great for the coffee bar, just to store all of our extra coffee stuff that won't fit into the cabinet because we're using that mainly for appliances. So I thought the wood looked really great in this room, and I love like the stainless steel accents on here. I think it brings a really nice minimal modern vibe in here. But first, I need to figure out what's behind the walls because they're covered in a wood paneling. So I'm going to use this stud finder. Basically, this one is kind of like an expensive version that will tell you what exactly is behind the wall. It's not super accurate, but it's more accurate than like another stud finder that just kind of tells you that there's a piece of wood behind the drywall. Considering this house is old and these walls are probably plastered and lathed behind this like wood paneling, I'm not super worried, but I do want to just check if there is metal behind the wall, if there's wiring, if there's live wires, as well as if there's like a stud, and then it'll also find the middle of the stud as well. So I want to make sure that where I want to put this is not going to overlap with anything that's going to cause a problem. Okay, so I want the shelving to be right up here. So I'm just gonna basically put a piece of tape here to kind of mark the area above the lamp because spatially I don't want anything, you know, bigger than this. So I'll just mark a place here. Okay, so there's nothing behind this part of the wall as well as over here where I want to put the two slats to hang the shelves. So it should be good to go. So I'm glad that I picked that thing up because it seems like there's some wires and some metal like right in the middle here, but that shouldn't be a problem because I don't have to screw into it. So basically this thing has a really great setup. It's kind of a French cleat where the first strip that you put into the wall has these little openings so that you can make sure that it's completely aligned from top to bottom. And then you mark where you want to drill your holes, take it off, pre-drill your holes, put in some anchors. So I used concrete anchors and concrete screws, considering I'm assuming plaster is behind this wood paneling and it's definitely not drywall. So I really want it to be secure to hold a lot. So once you've drilled your holes and added your anchors, then you can put the back part of the cleat on the wall and screw it in. And then you slide on the top piece, and this is the piece that has the holes to attach the shelves to and just gives the whole shelving unit an aesthetic look. You actually don't have to use these. You can just hang the shelves directly on the wall, but I chose to create kind of a shelving system instead of just having free floating shelves, and I think it kind of gives it a more interesting look. This is also very interesting because you don't screw in the back bracket. As you can see, you keep it loose so that you can slide it into the slot on each side. So the shelving unit is completely adjustable depending on how many shelves you want or how much space you want between them. And then they also sell accessories for this shelving system. So I got this little bar that you can attach anywhere where a shelf would go. So it has this little side edge that you just put into one of the slots and it just hangs there super securely. And then they also have these little S hooks. So I thought this would be great to hang my espresso cups and coffee mugs and whatever else I end up doing in the final stage of decorating this space. This is is super cute and took so long to get on the wall and to make sure that it was level, but this is exactly what I was envisioning. So I'm gonna take a break and then reconvene on this later, or maybe just catch up with you tomorrow, because this was a lot, but I absolutely love this so much and I think it's adding so much to this space already. So the windows in this home have always been a point of contention for me. When we moved in, the breakfast nook looked like this with a big piece of wood and this window AC unit. And then a few months later, all of the original 1929 windows in the home were completely replaced with new ones that were a little bit more modern and better for weather. So I made an effort in my dining room makeover to give some character to the windows with those stained glass decals. But after the windows in the breakfast nook were replaced, there was a lot of damage left that never got repaired. Okay, so it's a new day and I'm ready to address these windows. So I'll show you the shelving unit I put up and the door at a later moment when I do final touches, but I think the windows are next because I really need to decide what I want to do here. The trim, of course, needs to be restored and these blinds need to be replaced because they're just not it. And then I want to, instead of stripping this back to wood and staining it to the color that's in the dining room and the living room, I want to add a paint color. So I have been going back and forth for a while now trying to figure out what color to paint the trim of these windows. And I even created a couple mock-ups in Canva adding like a color bar around the window, but I needed something that looked just a little bit more realistic because I didn't really want to invest all this time into prepping the windows as well as money and buying paint if I wasn't like super sure on what color that I wanted to paint it. So that brings us to today's sponsor, Skillshare. I have literally used Skillshare for years and I think it's an awesome resource to learn some quick things if you want to just brush up on your skills or maybe just learn something brand new. And so I went and searched for interior design rendering or like Photoshop rendering for interior design. And I came across this class called Digital Room Makeover Photoshop for Interior Design, which is exactly what I needed to just brush up on some Photoshop skills that I already kind of had in the past so that I can make a little bit more of a realistic rendering, especially when it comes to paint, because paint is like the one thing that you just cannot return. So you have to be kind of sure that that's the paint you want to use. This class was also great for relearning how to change perspective of furniture and objects as well, so I could get a really good picture as if I had already designed the room that way, which made me feel a lot more confident about my choices. So what I love about Skillshare is that whether you're someone like me who just wants to brush up on some skills that maybe you already had established in the past, or you want to learn something brand new, there are so many classes that are led by actual pros that make it really fun and easy to learn, and you can really blow through a class in just like a weekend. Also, one of the tiniest little features on Skillshare that I absolutely love is that I can watch all of these classes on different speeds. So I actually like to put my classes on 2x because then I can just process the information faster and get through the entire class faster. And if that's something that you would take advantage of, then I know that you'll enjoy that feature as well. And they also offer learning paths, which basically guide you through a series of curated classes so that you can keep building on your skills with every single class. I think it's just a really great resource for people who are creative like us, who maybe like to enjoy a variety of different topics, but want to learn at their own pace and on their own time. So the first 500 people to click the link down in my description will get an entire month of Skillshare for free. And as I've mentioned, there is so much you can learn in just 1 month. Definitely go check it out and try out some classes and see what you can learn. And thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Let's get started on these windows and see if I can kind of make them a vibe and take off these old blinds. I picked this dry chamomile color because it's got like kind of a nice yellowy brown greenish tone that I think really matches the yellow paint in the kitchen. And I think it also complements the white walls a bit. And then I'm going to try to restore the trim as much as possible with just some spackle. Then I'll let it dry and sand it down and we'll get to painting. As I've mentioned before, prepping for painting is usually a huge deterrent for me as it's a lot of work and it makes me feel like I really need to be 100% committed to the color that I am choosing, especially as I'm investing into the paint and the brushes or rollers. And I'm also putting all this time into the prep work, but I'm really glad that I was able to kind of experiment with the different colors digitally before committing because I feel a little bit more confident about going in with this color. However, the minute I put it on the wall, I was like, oh my God, is this even the right color? I have no idea. But honestly, as I mentioned, mentioned, I really wanted to try something new in here, and I feel like this is a really fun color choice. And I always love the look of a room that has painted trim, and I think it's really fun and different. And you know what? It's okay, because it's okay to experiment and try new things, and that's the whole point, right? Okay, so I'm kind of liking this, but I'm not really sure about it. So instead of like finishing the whole thing and going all in, I'm just gonna let it dry and see how I feel. So I might have to just follow up with you guys tomorrow and we'll finish it tomorrow. But I think I like it, and it's kind of different, and it really, you know, matches the warm white walls and the yellow in the kitchen. So we'll have to see, but I have high hopes for it, and I think it'll dry a lot darker. So I'll check in with you once it's dry. Okay, so it's been a few days, and I painted this window, as you can see, and then I painted this one, and this one needs one more coat, but I actually really like it. I feel like it's really bright. It feels retro. It's different. Let's move on. I'll add a new coat to this, and there's so much more to do. So first, I think we need to paint the inside of this arch, and I'm still not decided if I want to paint the trim around the door, but I think I'm just going to leave that white for now. I also went to an estate sale this morning, and I found the cutest little plant stand in someone's garage for like a couple dollars. So that made me want to go to the plant store to look for a pot so that I could replant my rubber tree for the little corner over here. And I found a few that were kind of interesting. I like the natural stone texture, which is what I have now. I don't like the shape of these, so it's kind of just standard. This is, I think, more so what I have at the moment, but I definitely need something bigger. These are so pretty. Oh my gosh. Wow. That would be really pretty if you got two and stacked it like that. I think I do need something like round at the bottom. These are just going to be way out of my price range and just take up too much space. Something like cylindrical and tall like this could be super chic. It would give it a lot of like height. This is like what I have my rubber tree in the living room. And I like this a lot. It's very organic, but this is so pretty. I wonder how much these are. So this little pot is $84.99. It's probably the perfect size, but I don't know about spending $100 on a pot. So I'm at this other nursery that I really like, and they have a lot of really great pots here that are super organic, and they're all made in Mexico, as you can see. And they just feel really nice. They're also kind of light for how big they are. And then I was thinking something like this could look pretty nice. So this is kind of a nice demure color that is neutral at the same time. And then this one fits the stand perfectly, and I love the shape of it, but I almost wish it was this color, and they don't have this one in this color. I like these too, but I think it looks too old world, too Spanish, and not in a way that's going to like benefit the vibe I'm going for. That's a little bit more modern. And then because I was at the nursery, I thought I would look at their trees, and they had so many interesting ones that were similar to the ones on my original mood board that were more spindly and interesting looking. So I actually decided that I wanted to ditch the rubber tree altogether. I think I was just getting tired of the rubber tree because the shape didn't feel right, and also it has a really pastel undertone on the leaves. So I did take home this pot and just got some basic well-draining potting mix, and then I picked up a plant called a black lace elderberry tree, and I thought switching to a tree that actually had dark leaves instead of green leaves would actually ground the space and bring in the dark wood and burgundy tones that are actually in the dining and the living room. So this pot was only $27, and the plant was like, I think $30 or $40. So we're just gonna keep moving on, and I want to show you a rug that I found that might work in here instead of covering up the floor with peel and stick tiles. So I always wanted terracotta type tiles in this kitchen, and I found these fake ones on Etsy, and they were just really just cheap feeling and looking, and the color is so pink. And I even got this like cheap blue rug to see if that would kind of help it out, but it absolutely made it worse, and it looked like a dorm rug. And honestly, I was very unhappy with this. So I went online looking for a square rug that maybe would bring in the color tones that I liked, and I found this beautiful one on Etsy. It's like a Turkish kilim Afghan rug, and I thought the pattern on there was beautiful. The quality looked amazing, and when I got it in person, I absolutely thought it was so great. So I think I'm just going to put this in the kitchen instead, because I think it's going to really ground the space, especially once I get the bench in here. And I think the colors help elevate the space and detract from the floor coloring. I also found this amazing plate at the estate sale for $18, and it already had a hanger on it, so I thought it would be so cute to put it in the kitchen as the colored palette really matches, and I think it just has a Spanish vibe to it. So I also have some really exciting things that a few brands sent me, which is super cool. So in one of my previous videos just recently, I did like 10 more of my best favorite renter-friendly hacks, and I included this brand called Pop Light, and they sent me 2 of their pop lights, which is super cool. So I have this color right here, which is called Vermilion, and then I also have a yellow color. So I wanted to try out the Vermilion because it would kind of be like an interesting pop of red. So this is what it looks like. I think it's super cool and graphic and very modern looking, and you could hang it like this or you can hang it like this, which I think is kind of fun. But I wanted to put up maybe 1 or 2 in here so that I could just have additional light sources, considering all I have is this ceiling light and then a little lamp on the, coffee bar area, and then the rest of it is just like the kitchen lights. So having some light in here at night might be kind of like vibey and cozy. So I want to see where I like it best, but I think like flanking this window would be kind of cool. So let's try it out. Look at this. This is so cute. It looks really high end, and it took me like 3 minutes to set up, and Pop Light is in no way sponsoring this video. They just sent me these lights and I am obsessed with them even more than when I talked about them in my last video. So definitely go check these out. They have a ton of colors. They just released a really cool blue color. I think the black one would be super classic. And what's great is that you can get these like extra battery packs, and these literally popped in and out so easily. Or I can use the plug and just plug these in down below so they're on all the time, and just use the app to like turn them on and off, and I don't have to worry about changing out the battery. And I think like a corded moment could be kind of cool. Let's see. I kind of like it. It's like really cool. It's kind of industrial with the cord. I think for me personally, I'm gonna do it without the cord, but I love this so far, and it'll be great to charge it because the plug is right down below the window. And then it's so easy to move. I could just basically take off the command strips, and then I got the extra pack of command strips, so you can just keep moving it around all you want all around your house. I also had 2 pages send me some Roman shades, and they were actually the wrong style, so they're sending me some new ones, but I wanted to show you what they sent me. So these are the Roman shades. They're like a bamboo jute type material, and the ones that I ordered actually have like just only this middle part, not this jute piece. So hopefully I'll get those in time for this video, but basically they're cordless and you can just kind of like push them up and down, and they're meant to fit inside the window. So for now, I'm gonna put these up just so you guys can see what my vision was and see how these work. So pretty much I really like these because they come with no drill brackets. The only thing that you're drilling into is the actual bamboo part of the Roman shade. And I found it easy to pre-drill some of my holes and then use a hand screwdriver to screw in the actual screws, as it is a really soft piece of wood and I did not want to risk cracking it. And then you have this little tension rod piece that you put a little bolt on, and you twist this little bolt on the other side, and basically it presses against the frame of the window while still holding up the Roman shade. So this is a really great solution for renters, so you don't have to drill into your walls, your ceiling, or even the trim of your windows. As long as you have enough real estate, I think it's about 2 inches or so to hold the tension rod pad, then you should be able to do this. And then there's this extra piece of fabric on top that hides all the mechanisms, so it looks very seamless. I also wanted to talk about art really quick because I feel like that's going to kind of help inform the design in here. And I picked up that painting on my last antiquing trip. And then if you remember like a few thrifting trips prior or estate sale trips, I found a really great frame and I put them together because I was like, oh my God, it'd be so cool if these would fit together. And they actually do. They're like exact proper size for each other. It looks so good. I'm so obsessed with the vibe of that. I think they were like made for each other. This is what I had always been looking forward to in this room. So these espresso cups on the right are from the Long Beach Flea, and the ones on the left are from an estate sale earlier this year. And then I just always wanted to share with you and show off all of my fun and cool thrifted coffee mugs, my pour over Chemex, this little mid-century glass pitcher that was from a diner, this lamp I got from the antique mall in my last video, and then I found this cute little tray bowl thing at IKEA for a couple dollars, and I thought it would be great to store all of these saucers for my espresso cups. And then I don't know if you guys remember, I found these for like $2 or $4 at a garage sale. And then I introduced these little coffee and tea tins in my October home update. And then I just went to the thrift store and I found this cute little amber colored spice container for only $1, and it literally looked brand new. Oh my God, you guys, I love this late afternoon sun and the way that this is all looking. I think it's so good. I'm just absolutely obsessed. It could not look better, honestly. And then I have those other two frames that I picked up on my last antiquing trip that I would really like to use in here. So I went through some of my coffee table books, and I really like this one because it's got a bunch of cute little doodles from this artist who creates little drawings on hotel pads when he's traveling. And so I actually just want to scan this one into my computer because I love like the colors, and I think this would add kind of like a cute kitchen vibe into the space. And once I've scanned it in, I just sized it up in Photoshop and printed it out and just used regular paper. And then I also wanted to use the chunkier wood frame to bring in some more wood texture in here. So I went through this vintage coffee table book and I didn't really see anything that I loved, but I really love the cover so much. So I took the sleeve off and I scanned that in and I cropped it in Photoshop and printed that out. And I think it turned out really great. I really wanted to add something that was a thick, chunky wood on this part of the wall specifically, just so that it feels cohesive. The trim in the dining room and the living room, as well as the door that goes into the breakfast nook, are all really dark wood. So I think by putting this chunky wood piece on the other side actually weights this room down a bit and makes it feel cohesive with the other spaces in the house. All right, you guys, it is a new day and I'm super ready to be done with this breakfast nook makeover. I'm loving this space so much, but honestly, it was like a real struggle to get through. I had a lot of life stuff pop up in between me starting this and me now. And also, I've been putting a lot of attention into the bench that I'm going to put in the corner over here. And I decided I wanted to make a video about that all on its own that I'll put out in December because I've learned so much and I feel like it's really great information and I'm obsessed with like how far it's come. I'm finalizing the hinges as well as the cushion on top. So I wanted to share all that with you just in case you want to replicate something like that for your own home. It's a lot of information, so I would hate to like rush through it and not give it its like due time. So we're done. I'm ready to show you the final reveal, but I wanted to say last night I set up my tripod and everything and did not record any of me installing a new light fixture in here. So we decided after a really long conversation to get rid of the ceiling fan that was in here, but not replace it with like an aesthetically pleasing pendant light because we really do use the fan feature a lot. This galley kitchen is just like really not great for airflow, especially with how much we cook in here. There's only windows on this side and there's no real air to like push it out, and the range hood over the stove is so old it doesn't really work. So it makes more sense for us to have some kind of ceiling fan in here that gives us, you know, some airflow. So I got this fan from Amazon and it was pretty affordable and I liked it a lot because it was really minimal and simple and super compact. I really wanted to try to clear the space in here to make it feel taller, especially since I've added this shelving. I feel like it looks so much taller in here. I don't have any footage to show you of me installing it, but it comes with this little remote that has the numbers for the speeds. So it has 6 speeds. You can spin it left or right. And then you can also have it on this like security mode where like it turns on and off every 5 minutes if you're on vacation. And then it also has like different light temperatures. So warm, cool, and neutral. The warm one is obviously the best, but it's still like not great. So I really don't like having ceiling light anyways. So the pop lights and the little lamp on the coffee bar are probably going to be what I use mostly. It's also great because it has a timer and a dimmer for the light as well. You can make it brighter or dimmer. And then, yeah, I mean, for what it is, I think it's a great little ceiling fan. And maybe in the future, if we figure something else out, we can get something else. But right now, this makes the most sense. So let's jump into it and let me show you the final reveal of this space and how it looks with the kitchen and how it all flows together. And I really love it. I hope you love it. I'm obsessed with it, honestly. I think it's a really great space. So let's jump into it in 3, 2, 1. Not be happier with this space. It feels so unique and so me, and it honestly is just a night and day difference from where we started. This room felt so dark and drab and small, and just by adding in some bright colored paint and cleaning up all of the chipped windows, everything in here just feels bright and brand new. And then by adding this shelving unit, the whole room feels so much taller, which was also emphasized by removing this gigantic ceiling fan that was just way too low and way too big for this space, and it was gross. And now having something cleaner and simpler in here has just really modernized the space, but it still feels very vintage and unique in here, and that's what I love. I don't want to live in a new build. I love the character of an old home. And an old home is never going to be perfect and perfectly clean, in perfect condition, but I think this is as close as you could get, and I'm really happy with it. And I feel like the character on the window and how this room communicates with the dining room and the living room is just super cool. So I'm really stoked about it, and I hope that all of my explanations around my decisions actually do help you inform your own decisions in your own home. I would love for you to just feel empowered to make your own decisions about your own style and not have to copy any specific style, and also try to make a decision that feels right for your home specifically. You don't need to copy some kind of trend in order to feel like your home is trendy and yours and super new and fresh. If you enjoy this type of content, please give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help out the channel, and please subscribe, because if you do, you will be notified by hitting that little bell of when I release new videos. We've got tons of great content coming out in the future. It's been a hard season and we're going into the darker months, but we will get through it, and it's going to be a lot of fun to decorate for Christmas and all that good stuff. So stay tuned, hang out with me, and let me know what you thought in the comments, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.